and welcome. My name is Jennifer Finn, and this is my first podcast for We Love Teachers, a podcast aimed at supporting teachers and homeschool parents with giving them the tools and resources to be successful. I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm a mother of three. I'm a freelance content developer and instructional designer. For a brief time, I was an elementary special education teacher. My vision for this podcast is to serve as a resource for anyone that's looking to make the most of their time planning and executing lessons. I wanted to interview the experts in the classroom and explore the world of online learning. All of this is in hopes of uncovering simple hacks and strategies that actually work. You want to get started?
I'm ready.
Well, welcome. So this is Audine, my guest speaker. She teaches second grade. I found her on the Facebook group Teaching in Texas. Is that right? Teaching in Texas? Yeah. And welcome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so my first question is, I want you to tell me about your experience as a teacher and what are some tips that you have for parents?
As a teacher, I've had close to a little over 17 years, I guess. Different grade levels, different settings, public school, private school, and even in the criminal justice system. So I've kind of taught a wide range of students. And in all honesty, my student teaching was internationally. My parents lived overseas, so I got special permission to teach in an international American-based school. So I've had quite a bit of experience in different ways and different calendar years, different settings. So I'm easily adjusted to whatever happens. So that makes my life this year as a teacher easier than any. Because if you've been teaching in the same situation all the time, it's really hard to adapt. Teachers are not good at adapting sometimes.
Right. We like to have everything laid out. We want to have a structure.
Exactly. It's a comfort zone. When you don't know your kids, you want control of something. So with all of that information involved, one thing I say for parents is this year is going to be a lot of unknowns. We may say tomorrow we're doing virtual learning, and 2 days later they say, hey, everything's great, we're going back to school.
Yeah.
As we all know, watching the news, every day something changes.
Right.
So we have to create something stable for our children to be able to survive mentally, emotionally, because this is really hard on them. Their little world's been turned upside down. And they feel our anxiety and our concerns, whether we voice it in front of them or not, they feel it. Yeah. And so for parents, I would say create a stable environment at home. You can control that. You can control that they eat A, B, and C. You can control when they eat. You can control when they go to bed. Though we're starting virtual, that doesn't mean that it's like the summertime. Put them in that school routine now. This is not going to be like it was in the spring. Teachers have had the whole summer to get ready. And so our virtual learning experience is going to be different. We need to help our children create that learning experience as well at home. Because let's say we go back in 3 weeks, and after we're all back for 2 weeks, another breakout happens and we go back virtual again.
Yeah.
They need to feel comfort going back to that virtual situation.
Yeah.
So as teachers, we're going to be creating that comfort online. Thing I will say for parents, create their school space at home. That's not laying on the floor in their bedroom. That's not laying in bed in their bedroom.
Not laying in bed. I totally agree.
No. Have them get up, get dressed, sit at the kitchen table, have a basket with all of their school supplies in it. So they know when they have breakfast, the next thing they do is pull that basket out and set up for school.
You have it all ready the night before, so it's always there. They're not having to look for things and waste time, because my daughter will try to waste time. She would also be laying in bed
doing that if he had a choice, for sure. Oldest, I would probably 2 weeks before school starts, I would have him start getting up early. Maybe not at 6 a.m., the first day, but I would slowly just start having him get up earlier, day by day, so that it wasn't such a big deal when school actually started. We're going to be early risers. I'm a morning person, so I'm happy with that. She is not. She's a night owl.
Well, and that's something to remember too. When they're getting up at home, you have to get them up and create that time frame for so your child's not a morning person. I'm not either. I have to get up really early, have my breakfast and coffee, read, watch the news, whatever, and be ready to talk to people.
Right.
That's just the way I am.
And she doesn't like to eat breakfast.
Yeah, but you have to get them up early enough, get them moving around, have them walk around outside or something.
Right. Take the dog for a little walk, come back, and that's like a good little break for her. And she likes spending time with the dog, so that works out really well. Okay, so tell me some about your special education experience.
We had this one young man who had spent a little bit of time building a relationship, but not exorbitant amount. I noticed him kind of withdrawing in class, but didn't say a lot. His friends started coming to me saying something's wrong, he's not doing well, I don't know what's going on. So I started spending more and more time with him one-on-one. When you suspect something like that, you have to build a relationship to be able to confront the issue.
Yeah.
While I'm spending time with him in the classroom, catching him in the hallway, how you doing, what's up, at the same time I was talking to my administrator and to his parents. And I was saying, don't tell him we're talking. Let me work on this, but I'm going to tell you what I suspect. So in the meantime, we're building all these rapports all around. I'm talking to mom and dad every day, every other day, and keeping my admin up to date. Finally, we all came to a point where he admitted to me, yeah, I got a problem. I don't know how to fix it. So then I said, well, you trust me? And he said, yes. And I said, will you trust me to let you help you? And he said, yeah, but I'm scared my parents will hate me. I'm like, oh, I don't think so, but I can understand that fear. So anyway, to make it move forward, I called his parents that afternoon and said, okay, he's ready for some help. So we set it all up so they would not be involved. We let the school be the one involved. So we picked him up right after the end of the day, a situation where other peers could not see him.
Right.
They came and took him directly to a rehab. Parents had already signed all the paperwork. When he came back, he was really angry at me, so angry. And I let him be angry. That's okay, because I know I did the right thing. And a few years ago, Corey contacted me and he said, Audine, I want you to know I'm doing good now. And he told me he had just gotten married, and we've been in touch, and they just had their second child.
Wow.
So as soon as all this is over and I'm travel again, I'm going up there to visit with them for a little while and see them. So I'm okay with kids being angry with me if I know the outcome is good. Yeah. Some may never talk to me again just because they're that angry. That's okay. Yeah. They're alive. They're in a world, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
thank you so much for sharing that. That isn't a story.
Well, thank you. I think part of that is, as a teacher, you have to be in tune to your kids. If you see them, even if they're kind of a lazy student anyway, first of all, find out why they're being lazy. Are they bored because your work's not challenging them enough? Are there issues going on at home that they're just so overwhelmed they can't concentrate at school? Learning should be exhilarating for everyone. It should not be a boring experience. If you're not finding the right tool to grab their interest, it's on you as a teacher.
It is. And a lot of people don't realize that nobody can learn in any situation if their basic needs are not being met.
Right.
Which really basic needs are, sleep, food, safety, comfort, being loved, or we're stressed out and we're anxious, we're not learning anything. And that's
Right.
something that kids, they don't know how to communicate that. And I work on that with her quite a bit, is recognizing what basic needs are contributing to maybe some of this irritability.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, great. Let's go on to the next one. So as a second grade teacher, you have excellent problem solving skills. How do you go about your problem solving, and what are some things that you can share as far as your method?
Well, and this again, as teachers, we learn very quickly. Each of our children are individuals. They react to things individually. And it's really hard to put a global behavior solution on every child. And that's why the relationship building is essential with teachers and their students and their parents. Once I had, this past year in my classroom, I had a group of students who the year before had gone through 10 teachers in their classroom. There was no trust in those children. They kept waiting for me to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't leave. No matter what they did, I was right back in there the next morning. The parents were the same way though, because they kept waiting for us to give up on them too. So I immediately built that relationship with both of those, so that when there were problems, I had the trust of those parents. When I said, we have a serious issue here, then they knew we were at that point. So let's just say Stephen had a really difficult time reading. And when Stephen got frustrated, he acted out behaviorally. So much so that it disrupted class and I couldn't teach because of his behavior issues. And sometimes he would throw a chair, or he would throw his books all over the room, or he would do whatever he could to create chaos so I would stop teaching.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I started doing when I finally figured out, okay, this happens when we start reading. Well, he was on a really very low kindergarten level reading. And so he's way behind many of his peers. I said, Stephen, I need a reading partner. Come sit with me. And so when I would be teaching, I would be sitting with him and pointing to words as I read so he could follow along. He stopped acting out as much when he was by me.
Right.
So I knew he needed that relationship to continue feeling comfortable in the room.
Yeah.
I did not call on him to read out loud. And when he offered, I took it because that meant he was in a comfortable place. I think that's where you have to go about. I had several in that situation. They were testing me because of the previous year. And someone would get really crazy with their behaviors. And I would have to call in for some help and backup, and I'm not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time asking parents, okay, when they do this at home, what do you do? First you get, well, they don't do that at home. Oh yeah, they do. Don't tell me they don't. I'm a parent. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
You know, come on. But it is all about the beginning of the year, finding out about that child. So I sit down with an interview form, sort of like what you sent me. I have questions, I ask them, and I say, let's answer these together. Tell me what your answers are. I write them all down. And then I begin finding ways to use that information to build a positive feedback to the kids. So let's say Stephen, Justin, and Sam were all acting out at the same time. But then I have Morris and Keith are doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm watching these other boys over here start messing around and talking and joking. Morris, great job. I love how you're following directions. Well, I saw Sam stop and he started doing his work. Then I would call out, Cynthia, great job. I am so proud of you for following directions. Then another one stopped and started getting on task. So I never said anything to the misbehaviors. I called out to the positive behaviors.
That's what I did in Nurtured Heart. is try to catch them the one time then everybody's acting the right way or they're doing something appropriately. Or I like how everybody walked in this morning and they got started. I really appreciate that. And it takes like 2 seconds and they all hear it. And it gets the classroom started or that class period started in the right direction. I also would practice active ignoring.
Yes.
So that's a great tool. I'm so good at it. I'm like a master at ignoring people. And it like freaks them out because I'm normally very animated and upbeat and everything. So for me to ignore someone, it's like, oh my gosh. What's wrong?
My husband says I'm pretty good at that too.
Yeah, it's a great skill to have. It works with kids. So when my kids would be on the kitchen floor kicking and screaming for something or other when they were younger, I would literally walk over them. Or if I had asked them to put their clothes in the dirty hamper or clean up the bathroom, after they took a shower, I would take their clothes and like drag them and like just drop the dirty clothes on top of them and walk away. Just like, you're not going to engage in an argument. You're not doing a shouting match, and it works like a charm, and it's actually pretty fun.
Good.
Have fun.
Perfect. And that's what it's all about, is paying attention to the positive.
It is, and it puts me in a better mood than focusing on the negative. I don't like to nag.
I think we expect our kids to sit there a long time, and I don't care if they're 5 years old or 18 years old. I can't sit in my chair for an hour and be quiet and work.
Right.
I can't. You've got to give everybody a chance to get up and move around. And I don't care if it's partnering them up, so they have to get up, move around, go find a partner, or do something, but have them move around every 20 minutes or so to create that breaking up of the work. So they think, oh, we get a break. You're really just moving and it takes 1 minute to do that. It's a break.
Yeah.
I think that helps keep kids on task longer. And the other thing is that if I saw a child that was really getting off task quickly, I would pair them up to a child that they would do well with.
Yeah. And
I tried to do a lot of partner work so that I could see, okay, is this an academic issue? Is this a behavior issue? Is this a confidence issue? What is causing the off-task behavior? As teachers, we're constantly having to watch that to find out what is the cause of the behavior. Don't just try to put a Band-Aid on it. Find the cause so you can stop it.
Yeah.
Because you want your class to run as smooth as you can, as often as possible.
Absolutely.
And so finding the cause of the behaviors will help tremendously.
And keeping a log. I ended up doing that, not for every student since I had so many, but those students where you need to write things down.
Right, exactly.
I need to be able to remember what happened today because any given day was a blur.
Right. Oh, yeah.
If you don't write it down, it's like it never happened. And then you can always show that log to the parent that, and it helps them really get an idea of what's happening. Maybe in a given class period, I have 5 things written down. And then the next day I have 5 more things written down. Mm-hmm. I would actually call, I would call the parents in class. This is 7th and 8th grade. I would call, we have a classroom phone, and I would call the parents in class and say, can you please talk to your son? And they would step out in the hall and have a conversation with their parent. And that works like a charm. Don't be afraid to talk to parents. Don't make a habit of it. Save it for when you need it. But to me, it works like a charm. There was one time I had real issues with one student. He was signing my behavior log. There was lots going on in the classroom, really wanting attention. It was a class right before they would head off to football games. So whatever time frame that was, 6th period or whatever, they were all together with me, and they loved to cut up. And so I had told him, hey, if you continue, I'm calling Dad. Like, we will call Dad. And once I say that, I have to do it. Like, I have to follow through. So I kind of waited for him to do, smart off to me or whatever it was, being disrespectful. So I had him call his dad, and I could hear, they were in the hall talking. I could hear his dad through the phone yelling at him. And I felt so bad. I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't go home and get beat up. Which wasn't the case. I did end up meeting his dad. He's a very nice person. But I did warn him.
Right.
And I did follow through, and I did regret doing it. It was it probably hurt me more than it hurt him. He hears that all the time. Some parents are just tougher on their kids than others. And the behavior did improve, and he apologized, and he was very respectful. So it worked like a charm.
Sometimes it only takes one phone call to one parent, to anybody in the classroom. The main thing to remember is, I'm going to do this if you don't stop. You better do it. Or they're not going to listen to you because you don't follow through.
So do you have any other tips or things that might work for, I know you worked at all grade levels, correct? Yeah. So I'm in high school, you're in second grade. What's something that works with just about every student? I know you mentioned building relationships with parents. Mm-hmm. So I guess is there anything else? We're going to run out of time, I think. We only have a couple of more minutes. I appreciate you doing this. This is so awesome.
Oh, my pleasure. I do want to say one thing for teachers this year. We are all overwhelmed. And we're struggling, trying to figure out some sanity in the midst of all this chaos. Stop. You can't figure it out. And don't beat yourself up because of that. I have, if you see, this list of papers that are sitting right on top of my table here. Every morning I get up and I make a list of what do I need to do today. I have a master list over here. I take things in priority on that master list. I put it in front of me and say, here are the things I have to do today. And once you start pushing everything down into smaller lists, you feel accomplished. And I think because we're teaching both virtually and brick and mortar, we're not sure what to do first. So stop, take some breaths, walk around the block, come back and say, okay, let me take my priorities.
Like I like to stay busy. I like to be working on multiple things at once. That's my happy place. So I have noticed that as a teacher, you never finish because I'll just find more work for myself.
Right.
Which is not good. So I'm like, okay, I need to channel this energy somehow. And so I'll start, I'm starting to walk hopefully 3 miles a day. I'm trying to do that. Work out more often because I do have this nervous energy that I'm going to wear myself out. I'll have so much energy for 2 weeks and I'll get all this stuff done. And then I'll have 2 days of nothing. I can't get out of bed. I'm exhausted. And that's probably not the place to be.
So my thing is say one day on the weekend, don't do any school stuff. Just say, nope, this is family day. This is Audine day. Do that. Because if you don't, you're going to go insane.
So true.
We can't do that to ourselves. And I'm a very high achiever. I am constantly trying to find ways to improve upon everything I do. If I don't walk out of this house, then I'm destroying the relationship with the man that means the world to me. And I'm not going to do that anymore. That's one thing I learned in the spring when we had to speed home.
Yeah, I think a lot of young teachers, especially right out of college that are beginning their first year teaching, they need to hear that yes. It is just a job and it is an income. Of course, it's important to us and it's our career. You can be successful in your career, but your family is the most important thing in your life. And there's no replacement for that. Your career is never going to replace that part in your heart where your family is. So don't jeopardize that. Really put your family first because I'm always thinking about the next thing I'm going to be doing or whatever I need to get caught up on. Which is it's a blessing and a curse to be that way.
Yes.
But I've found more of a balance and I'm a lot happier with the balance. Okay, well that concludes our interview.
Thank you so much.
So fun. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Keep in touch. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hi I'm so glad that you stopped by and listened to my very first podcast. I hope you'll come back, and I would love to hear from you. If you have any topic suggestions or show ideas, I invite you to connect. Why don't you send me an email or comment below?